Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into some intriguing AITA stories that will make you question just how far people can push boundaries. If you enjoy hearing these kinds of stories, don't forget to stick around and hit that subscribe button for more. So, shall we get started? Story 1. Am I the asshole for not giving my sister my wife's clothes? My wife was an accomplished corporate lawyer and mediator, and over the years she'd collected a wardrobe full of beautiful, high-quality work clothes. She had a strong sense of style, tailored suits, elegant blouses, and shoes that meant business. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. The last 6 months of her life were sheer hell, both for her and for me. Watching her fade away was devastating. During all of this, my sister Sarah didn't lift a finger to help. She never offered to cook a meal, run an errand, or even sit with my wife so I could take a breather. My wife never liked her to begin with, and frankly, neither do I. Sarah has always been self-absorbed, the kind of person who makes everything about her. At my wife's wake, yes, the wake, Sarah decided it was the perfect time to bring up my wife's clothes. She said she'd like to pick out a few pieces to remember her by. I brushed her off, still raw with grief, and focused on the people there who had actually been part of our lives during the hard times. 6 months passed. I went to my mom's birthday, still not in the mood to deal with much family drama. And wouldn't you know it? Sarah cornered me again, asking about my wife's clothes. I told her the truth. My wife had wanted them donated to a women's shelter she supported. She believed in helping women get a second chance, giving them clothes to wear to court cases, job interviews, or other important appointments. It was something she had done for years, and I wanted to honor that. Sarah's response? She said my wife was selfish in death. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. When I asked what the hell she meant, she launched into a rant about how my wife always thought she was better than her, and that it was unfair that the clothes were going to strangers instead of family. That's when I lost it. I told her I would rather see my wife's clothes set on fire than see her wearing them. Sarah burst into tears. My mom came over, wanting to know what was going on. And then, get this, my mom told me to be easier on my sister because she was taking my wife's death hard. The irony of hearing that from my mom was almost too much. I grabbed my gift for her, said my goodbyes, and left. Later, I heard from her that I had ruined her birthday by being melodramatic. But honestly, I can't wrap my head around how they think they're entitled to my wife's belongings, or why I should be guilt-tripped over fulfilling her final wishes. To me, my wife's clothes represent her values, helping women in need, giving them confidence, and setting them up for success. They are not some prize for my selfish sister to claim as a trophy. That brings us to our next story. Am I the asshole for refusing to give my sister my late wife's clothes? Story 2. Am I the asshole for enforcing basic boundaries on my daughter's sleepover? I'm a 42-year-old dad with 2 kids living under my roof, my 17-year-old daughter Anya, and my 14-year-old stepson Noah. Noah's mom passed away a few years ago, and I've had full custody since. He's a great kid, but he's been through a lot. He's not shy or antisocial, but he does value his personal space. When he gets really upset, he tends to shut down. Anya, on the other hand, is the complete opposite, outgoing, social, and always surrounded by friends. She asked if she could host a sleepover with 4 of her girlfriends. I agreed, but I had 2 very simple rules. Don't go into Noah's room. Keep the noise down after 11 p.m. so everyone in the house could sleep. These were not unreasonable requests. I even explained why I was setting them. Anya's friends could get pretty loud, and I knew from experience that they tended to overwhelm Noah. Around 10 p.m., I decided to check in, not because I was suspicious, but just to make sure everything was fine. When I walked upstairs, I found all 5 girls in Noah's room. 2 were sitting right on his bed next to him. 1 was flipping through his sketchbook, and another was rummaging through his things. They were all giggling in a way that made the whole situation feel wrong. Noah was sitting there, frozen, with tears in his eyes. He didn't respond when I spoke to him, which I knew meant he was shutting down. That was it for me. I told the girls to get out immediately. I also told Anya that I would be calling each of their parents to pick them up, tonight. Anya freaked out, saying I was embarrassing her, but I didn't care. I had given them 2 rules, and they had stomped all over them. Sure enough, I called every parent, explained what had happened, and sent the girls home as soon as they could be picked up. Once the house was quiet again, I spent about 20 minutes with Noah until he said he wanted some alone time. Then I went back to talk to Anya, but she wouldn't speak to me. It's late now, and I'm lying here wondering if I overreacted. Anya thinks I'm the bad guy for humiliating her in front of her friends. But from where I stand, protecting Noah's boundaries, especially after everything he's been through, is more important than my daughter's social life. It's not like I banned sleepovers forever. I simply enforced the rules I set because without consequences, rules are meaningless. And if the roles were reversed, if Noah's friends had invaded Anya's room and gone through her personal things, she'd be just as furious. That brings us to our next story. Am I the asshole for shutting down my daughter's sleepover after they broke my rules? Story 3. Am I the asshole for walking out when my husband sprung last-minute guests on me? My husband has this habit that drives me absolutely crazy. He'll invite his family and friends over without telling me until the day they're supposed to arrive. And not just for a quick coffee. No, he'll expect me to clean the house from top to bottom, run to the store, prep, and cook for everyone. It's not like we keep the house guest ready at all times. We live normal lives. Laundry in baskets, dishes in the sink, a fridge that might have leftovers, but definitely not enough to feed a crowd. On top of that, his family is, let's just say, judgmental. They have a knack for making little comments about everything from the dust on the shelves to how simple the food is. So when he says, it doesn't matter, they don't care, we both know he's lying through his teeth. The last time this happened, he told me with only 4 hours' notice that his family was coming over. 4 hours to clean, shop, and cook for people who would quietly pick apart every detail of my hosting. I looked at him, grabbed my keys, and said I'd be out for the evening. If he wanted to host, he could handle it himself. He canceled their visit. When I got home later, I asked him what his plan for dinner had been, and he said, I don't know. I guess it's good they aren't coming anymore. No kidding. Now he's sulking, telling me I'm the problem because I can't go with the flow. I've told him over and over, give me a couple of days' notice and I'll make it work. But springing it on me last minute? No, that's not fair. He says I'm uptight, uncooperative, and making a big deal out of nothing. I say I'm protecting my time, my energy, and my sanity. I don't think asking for basic respect and reasonable notice is too much. I'm not a live-in event planner, and I'm certainly not going to scramble around for hours just so he can look like the perfect host in front of his family. It's not that I hate having people over. I actually enjoy it when I'm prepared. I like cooking, decorating, and making sure our guests feel welcome. But I refuse to be set up to fail, especially with people who will definitely notice if I don't have matching napkins or enough appetizers. That brings us to our next story. Am I the asshole for walking out instead of scrambling to host my husband's last-minute guests? Story 4. Am I the asshole for ordering alcohol at a shared table with children? I'm currently on a solo trip in Tenerife. I booked an all-inclusive resort because I didn't want the hassle of finding places to eat by myself every day. The hotel has this club-style seating arrangement, meaning all the tables are for 8 people, and guests are seated together to encourage conversation and community. One evening, I was seated first and ordered myself a glass of wine. A family of 5 soon joined my table, 2 parents and 3 children. As soon as they sat down, the mother turned to me and said, "We do not wish to expose our children to women drinking alcohol." I smiled politely and told her that if it was a problem, perhaps they should ask the staff to move to another table because I would be drinking my wine. Her face tightened. They quickly clocked that I was traveling alone and started making passive-aggressive comments about it. Things like, "It must be so lonely to dine alone," and some people just don't understand family values. I ignored them, went to get food, and when I came back, my wine was gone. A waiter approached me, apologetic, and explained that the family had told him I was underage and had sneaked away from my parents. He asked to see my wristband to confirm I was part of the all-inclusive package. Once he realized the truth, he apologized again and brought me a fresh glass of wine. The family returned with their food, and I'll admit, I was feeling a little petty at that point, so I asked the waiter if he could bring me the entire bottle of wine, along with 2 shots of vodka. When the drinks arrived, I poured myself another glass of wine, then downed the vodka shots right there at the table. The family's reaction was priceless. They grabbed their things and stormed out of the restaurant without a word. Was it petty? Absolutely. But after being lied about, insulted, and having my drink taken, I felt like making a point. I was on vacation, minding my own business, and they decided to make it their mission to police me. If anyone was being disrespectful, it wasn't me. That brings us to our next story. Am I the asshole for ordering a full bottle of wine and vodka shots after a family tried to stop me from drinking? Story 5. Am I the asshole for telling my Mile that's all on her? My son is about to turn 5, and for his birthday, he asked for a chocolate cake with chocolate icing and chocolate ice cream. It's his special day, so of course I said yes. Enter my mother-in-law. She has a knack for making everything about herself, and when my son told her about his cake, she wrinkled her nose and said she didn't like chocolate, so he should get something we all like. Before I could respond, my son beat me to it. He looked her dead in the eye and said, "It's not your birthday, so you don't get a say." Now, normally, I might correct him for being blunt, but this time, he was simply repeating the exact etiquette I had taught him. Here's the backstory. A while ago, my son went to a friend's birthday party and didn't like the cake flavor. I explained to him that birthdays are special for the person whose day it is, and they get to choose their cake. Everyone else just enjoys it or politely passes. My Mill had overheard that lesson. So when my son repeated it back to her, she was shocked. I backed him up, telling her, "When it's your birthday, you can pick whatever flavor you want." She called me a bitch and my son a spoiled brat. That's when I told her, "With that attitude, you won't be coming to the party." My husband was stunned and tried to convince me to order a separate cake just for his mom to make peace. I refused. I told him giving in would undo the very manners and boundaries we were teaching our son. It would teach him that some people are entitled to change other people's special days to suit themselves. After a while, my husband admitted I had a point. Our son had been looking forward to his chocolate cake for weeks. And this was a chance for him to understand that his preferences matter on his special day, just like other people's preferences matter on theirs. But my Mel, she didn't get the memo. She now insists my son must write her a sorry note explaining what he did wrong. My husband and I both agree he did nothing wrong. He was polite enough and simply stood his ground. She says she won't attend the birthday party or get him a gift unless she gets that apology. I told her flatly, "That's all on you. If she wants to miss her grandson's birthday over cake flavor, that's her choice." That brings us to our next story. Am I the asshole for telling my MIL missing the party is her own decision? Story 6. Am I the asshole for telling my mom it wasn't cute or funny to dress me as a hot dog instead of a princess? There's this new Target commercial where a little girl wears a hot dog costume, and it came on while my family was watching a movie together. I'm home from college for the weekend, and my boyfriend was there too. My mom, laughing, told the room how she once made me a hot dog costume as a kid, except the way she told it, I had asked for it. She painted this picture of me being the quirky little girl who wanted to stand out while everyone else was a princess. That's not what happened at all. When I was about 8, I was obsessed with Snow White. I told everyone I was going to be Snow White for Halloween, my friends, my teachers, my ballet class. My dad and I even made sure to sign me up early for the princess dance at my ballet studio so I could be Snow White. Then, the week before Halloween, I tried to surprise my family by cooking dinner, like Snow White did for the dwarves. I tried making hot dogs. It did not go well. Big mess, burnt food, total disaster. My mom decided this was proof that Snow White was a bad role model for me. So, on Halloween day, she surprised me with a hot dog costume she'd made. She told me if I didn't wear it, she'd never let me watch Snow White again. I was devastated. I went to ballet dressed as a giant hot dog, while every other little girl twirled around in princess gowns. The teasing went on for months. To me, it wasn't quirky, it was humiliating. So, when she brought the story up in front of my boyfriend, making it sound like it was my idea, I corrected her. I told the real story, even adding that I'd coped by pretending she was the evil queen making me wear rags, only these rags were a giant meat tube. She went quiet after that. Later, my brother told me she cried while looking at pictures from that Halloween. I didn't mean to make her cry, but I'm tired of her rewriting my humiliations into cute family anecdotes. The truth is, I wasn't a quirky little girl making a funny choice. I was a kid who got her dream costume taken away because her mom decided she knew better. And I'm not going to sit quietly while she spins it into a joke at my expense, especially in front of someone important to me. Am I the asshole for finally setting the record straight about the hot dog costume? Thanks so much for sticking around until the end. If you enjoyed these AITA stories, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss the next batch of drama. See you in the next one.